In the heart of Moscow, the air was thick with anticipation. The Kremlin's high walls, steeped in centuries of power and intrigue, seemed to hold their breath as the news reached President Vladimir Putin. It was a crisp autumn morning, and the sun barely penetrated the heavy clouds that hung over the city, mirroring the tension that was about to unfold. The news that arrived was not just shocking. It was a seismic shift in the geopolitical landscape of Eastern Europe, one that would reverberate across the Atlantic and leave the United States in a state of bewilderment. Poland, a country that had often found itself caught between the ambitions of its larger neighbors, had made a bold and unexpected move. In a surprising announcement, the Polish government declared its intention to strengthen its military alliances with NATO and to initiate a series of joint military exercises with the United States and other NATO allies. This was not merely a routine drill, it was a message, a clarion call to both allies and adversaries that Poland was ready to assert itself on the global stage. For years, Putin had viewed Poland with a mix of disdain and concern. The country's history, marred by invasions and occupations, had forged a resilient spirit among its people. Yet, under Putin's gaze, Poland had often been seen as a pawn in a larger game of chess, one where Russia held the pieces and dictated the moves. Now, however, Poland was taking the initiative, and it sent shockwaves through the Kremlin. As the news broke, Putin gathered his closest advisors in a hastily convened meeting. The atmosphere was electric, charged with a mixture of disbelief and anger. The intelligence reports had indicated a growing military partnership between Poland and NATO, but the speed and decisiveness of this announcement caught even the most seasoned analysts off guard. Putin's face darkened as he listened to the details. The Polish government was not only increasing its defense budget, but also investing in new military technologies, including missile defense systems and advanced fighter jets. This was a clear signal that Poland was no longer content to play a passive role in the region. The reactions from key players were swift and varied. In Warsaw, Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki stood before the press, exuding confidence as he outlined Poland's vision for the future. He spoke of a united Europe, one that would stand firm against aggression and uphold democratic values. His words were met with applause from a populace that had grown increasingly wary of Russian ambitions. The Polish people, who had endured the scars of history, were now ready to embrace a new chapter, one defined by strength and solidarity. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, the reaction in Washington was one of astonishment, mixed with cautious optimism. The Biden administration had been working to reinforce NATO's eastern flank, but Poland's bold move was unexpected. High-ranking officials convened emergency meetings, analyzing the implications of Poland's announcement. The United States had long viewed Poland as a crucial ally in Central Europe, but this new level of assertiveness could change the dynamics of the region. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, in a press briefing, praised Poland's decision as a significant step towards collective security and reaffirmed the United States' commitment to NATO's Article 5. An attack on one member is an attack on all. However, the implications of Poland's actions extended far beyond mere military posturing. In Moscow, the Kremlin's propaganda machine sprang into action, working to frame Poland's decision as a threat to regional stability. State-controlled media outlets churned out narratives depicting Poland as a warmonger, eager to provoke Russia. Putin, ever the strategist, knew that he needed to counter this move with a show of strength. He ordered military drills along the borders, a demonstration of Russian might that was as much for domestic consumption as it was a warning to Poland and NATO. As the days turned into weeks, the tension in Eastern Europe escalated. The joint military exercises between Poland and NATO allies commenced, drawing the attention of global media. The drills were extensive, involving thousands of troops, advanced weaponry, and sophisticated cyber warfare simulations. The exercises were not only a demonstration of military capability, but also a message of unity among NATO allies, a stark contrast to the isolationist tendencies that had marked previous years. In the corridors of power in Moscow, the mood was grim. Putin's advisors urged him to take a more aggressive stance, to remind the world of Russia's historical influence in Eastern Europe. Yet Putin, known for his calculated approach, hesitated. He understood that any misstep could lead to a larger conflict, one that could engulf the region in chaos. Instead, he opted for a strategy of subversion, increasing cyber operations aimed at destabilizing the Polish government and sowing discord among NATO allies. Meanwhile, in Poland, the government's approval ratings soared as citizens rallied around the flag, united by a newfound sense of purpose. The Polish military, once seen as a relic of the past, became a symbol of national pride. Young people flocked to recruitment centers, inspired by the prospect of serving in a military that was no longer viewed as a mere defense force, but as a key player in the global arena. The narrative of Poland as a victim was being rewritten. Now, it was a story of resilience and strength. As the winter months approached, the geopolitical chessboard continued to shift. European leaders began to take note of Poland's assertiveness, and discussions around defense spending and military cooperation gained traction across the continent. Countries that had traditionally been hesitant to increase their military budgets began to reconsider their positions. The specter of Russian aggression loomed large, and Poland's actions served as a catalyst for a broader reassessment of security policies in Europe. In the United States, the Biden administration recognized the potential for Poland to emerge as a leader in Central and Eastern Europe. Diplomatic efforts intensified, with high-level visits to Warsaw by American officials. The U.S. sought to bolster its commitment to NATO, emphasizing the importance of collective defense, while also recognizing Poland's unique role in shaping the future of the alliance. This newfound partnership opened doors for economic cooperation, technology transfers, and intelligence sharing, further solidifying Poland's position as a key ally. Yet, the situation remained precarious. In the shadows, Russia continued to plot its next move. Putin, ever the tactician, sought to exploit any divisions within NATO. He understood that the alliance was not monolithic. Differing national interests and historical grievances could be leveraged to create fractures. The Kremlin launched a series of disinformation campaigns aimed at undermining Poland's credibility, portraying its military buildup as aggressive and unnecessary. The narrative sought to paint Poland as a destabilizing force in Eastern Europe, a portrayal that resonated with some factions within the European Union. As the months passed, the tension between Poland and Russia reached a boiling point. A series of border skirmishes, fueled by misinformation and provocation, escalated into a diplomatic crisis. NATO held emergency meetings, and the specter of conflict hung in the air. The United States, now deeply invested in the situation, called for restraint on all sides. The world watched with bated breath, aware that the stakes had never been higher. In the midst of this turmoil, Poland's leadership remained resolute. Prime Minister Morawiecki, addressing the nation, struck a tone of defiance and unity. He spoke of the importance of standing firm against aggression, of the sacrifices made by previous generations, and of the need for a strong, unified Europe. His words resonated deeply, galvanizing public support and reaffirming Poland's commitment to NATO. As the crisis unfolded, the implications of Poland's bold move became increasingly clear. The country had transformed from a passive player into an active participant in shaping the security architecture of Europe. Poland's military buildup, once seen as a reaction to Russian threats, had become a symbol of deterrence. It encouraged other nations in the region to reassess their own security strategies, leading to a ripple effect across Eastern Europe. The United States, recognizing the strategic importance of Poland, began to shift its focus. Military aid and training programs were expanded, and discussions around permanent U.S. bases in Poland gained momentum. The Biden administration understood that Poland was no longer just a bulwark against Russian aggression. It was emerging as a key player in the broader geopolitical landscape. As winter gave way to spring, the situation in Eastern Europe remained tense but stable. The joint military exercises continued, and Poland's commitment to NATO was unwavering. The country had successfully repositioned itself as a leader in regional security, and its actions had prompted a reevaluation of defense strategies across Europe. The implications of this shift were profound, as NATO allies began to recognize the importance of collective security in the face of a resurgent Russia. In Moscow, the Kremlin's narrative began to falter. The combination of Poland's military assertiveness and the unity displayed by NATO allies undermined Putin's attempts to portray the situation as one of Russian victimhood. The propaganda machine struggled to keep pace with the reality on the ground, and the cracks in the facade of Russian dominance became increasingly visible. As the year progressed, the geopolitical landscape of Eastern Europe continued to evolve. Poland's bold actions had not only reshaped its own future, but had also sent ripples through the entire region. The United States, recognizing the strategic importance of its partnership with Poland, began to invest in long-term security initiatives that would strengthen NATO and enhance collective defense capabilities. The implications of Poland's unexpected move were far-reaching. It had sparked a renewed commitment to NATO, encouraged other nations to bolster their defenses, and shifted the balance of power in Eastern Europe. The world watched as Poland emerged from the shadows of its past, ready to embrace its role as a leader in the face of adversity. In the end, the shocking news that had reached Putin served as a catalyst for change, one that would redefine the future of Europe and the security dynamics of the region. Poland's unexpected actions had left the United States astonished, but they had also opened the door to a new era of cooperation and strength among allies. The narrative of Poland was no longer one of victimhood. It was a story of resilience, determination, and the unwavering spirit of a nation ready to stand tall on the world stage.